Did anyone have a chance to see that incredible moon last night? I know I just asked you a question after putting you on mute, but I will assume that many of you can just raise a hand if you saw that beautiful moon. And this moon is number 3 in a row this year of supermoons. It's the 3rd supermoon of 2020, and it's apparently the last one of this year. So today at 6:45 was the moment that that moon was full, and this particular moon is called the flower moon. There's different names. I think many of these names come from Native American origin, and so just trying to pull myself up on the screen here. Spotlight video. Okay, there we go. There we go. So it's called the flower moon, and that's just a lovely image. So we're going to play with the moon today, honoring that beautiful, full, super flower moon. Well, we're going to begin by warming up the entire body. So I'm going to invite you to come to seated on your mat. And this time, instead of sitting on a cushion, just come with your sitting bones so you can feel your sitting bones right on the mat underneath you. And you can just have a very gentle cross-legged position. So the legs can be a little wider if they want, whatever makes it comfortable for you to sit, where you can really feel your sit bones rooting into the earth. And you can even, as they say at Kripalu, remove your magnificence. Take the flesh of the buttocks and lift it away a little bit so you can really feel that connection of your ischial tuberosities, or sitting bones, rooted into the earth. And from that base of support, lengthen up through your spine, soften your shoulders, spread your heart, reach right up through the crown of your head to the sky. So feeling your own heart center as bridging between earth and the heavens. Take a deep breath in and rock forward onto your sit bones. Draw the shoulders back, look up. So you're spreading the heart and taking a little arch of the back. Exhale, chin to chest, rock back to the back end of your sitting bones toward the sacrum. Squeeze out all the breath. And with breath, we'll take that rocking forward and back. Big sweeping breaths. Taking it into a seated cat-cow spinal waves. Inhale, open the chest, arch the back. Exhale, fold forward, tuck the chin toward the chest, and spread wide between the shoulder blades as you pull the navel in. And keep going like that. Let the breath become bigger and deeper and slower. And as you're rocking forward and back on your sit bones, you can imagine like your sitting bones are the blades of a rocking chair, rocking forward and back. You can narrow the airway a little bit in the back of the throat so the breath makes that ujjayi sound. And if at any point you can't hear me well as I'm speaking to you, you can always unmute yourself and give a little shout out that I need to adjust the sound. And pick up the pace a little bit here. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, spread wide through the heart. Exhale, release. And we're going to take it into spinal rocking now. I'm going to turn sideways, but you just stay where you are on your mat, just so that you can see the transition right into spinal rocking. Lift the knees and roll back. Tuck your chin. You're going to keep your chin tucked so that your whole spine is rounded. And you're going to rock from your sitting bones back to your shoulders. If this full rocking doesn't feel comfortable for your back, you can just lie on your back and hug your thighs in, and then let your legs go, hug them in, let them go. And that way that lifts and lowers the lower back. But if you can take it into full rocking, you can have your hands either underneath your knees, behind the crooks of the knees, keeping the chin tucked toward the chest, rolling from sit bones to shoulders, or you can take it a little bit deeper by grabbing opposite big toes and let the feet come overhead behind you. And as you sit up on the inhale, spread the heart and arch the back one way. Exhale, come into rounded spine as you roll. Keep going and make sure you remember to breathe. So inhale as you rock up, exhale through the nose as you rock back. Just keep going. This is a great warm-up for the whole spinal column. All of the chakra points begin to get stimulated, all the nerve endings associated with those different chakra points. And on the next inhale, come back up to seated. And just take a moment in a comfortable cross-legged position to just feel, turn your palms up, and just to feel all of the tingling and warmth and sensation that you've invited in. Take a few long, slow, deep breaths in and out through the nose just to normalize the breath after all that activity. And then bring the feet, uncross the legs, and bring the feet as wide as your mat. If you are a tall person with long legs, your feet are going to be wider than the mat. And we're going to do some windshield wiper knees. So both knees come down at the same time. This is a wonderful warm-up for the hips, the low back, and begins to invite a spinal twist. We've done our 2 flexion and extension cat-cow movements. Now we'll find a way into our twists. So both knees come down at the same time, and opposite hip pointer turns toward the knee. So really, as those knees come down, really twist your low back so the pelvis really turns as far as it will go. And you can also invite in a little bit of that spinal rocking cat-cow. So as the knees come down to the side, arch the back and look up. Inhale, round the back, chin to chest. Exhale as you come to center. Inhale as you come to the side. So you're finding that those spinal waves at the same time, the knees are coming down to the side and the hip is turning. Remember, the feet are going to want to creep together and you're going to end up with one knee clunking into the other foot. So keep the feet nice and wide. And then taking opposite arm across the body. So as the knees come down to your left, the right arm comes across. I'll be mirroring you. And reach long so we open through the side of the torso. And other side. Inhale, reach. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, reach. At your own pace, side to side, moving with breath. And there's an option here to take it one step deeper into a half circle. So as the knees come down to the left, you're going to come up onto your left knee and lower leg and reach long from the right tippy toes to the right fingertips. Come up on your left fingers so that you have a little bit of lift, or come up on your fist. Press the hips forward, grow long, big breath. Exhale, come down onto your sit bones, reposition your feet, take a nice half circle, reaching long through the whole left side of the body, from tippy toes to fingertips. See if you can grow an inch longer and come back down. Feel all of that energy you've invited into the whole torso area. Feet again, as wide as your mat. I'm going to turn sideways so that you can see how this looks from the side. So then the knees are going to come down. Have the knees come down to your right and slide the left knee back just a little bit away from the right foot. Reach the left hand all the way across so that you're facing the back end of your mat. Then both hands come down, middle fingers point toward the back of your mat. As you press into the palms, level the shoulders with the back of the mat so that your shoulders are parallel, or as close as you can get them to the back of your mat. So the light from your heart is going to shine on that back wall or just past the back of your mat. You can either stay here or come down onto your forearms, elbows underneath the shoulders, Try to stay lengthening from your tailbone to the crown of your head. And the heart now is shining its light straight down between the elbows and forearms. Big inhale. Exhale, release. Walk the hands back under the shoulders and unwind. We'll take it on the other side. Reposition your feet as wide as your mat and let the knees come down to the left. Sweep the right hand all the way around. Reach straight back behind you. Place the hands then down under the shoulders, palms spread wide. Press into the palms to level your shoulders with the back of the mat. Shine your heart past the back of the mat. And either stay here or come down right onto your forearms. And just press into the elbows, forearms, and palms to play with this a little bit to see if you can deepen into the twist. So your heart shines straight down. Back of the neck is long, so you're looking straight down. Long, slow, deep breaths with a gentle ujjayi brushing the back of the throat. And then coming back up onto the palms, unwind from your twist. And from here, we're going to come into table pose so you can swing your legs around behind you and just come into table pose on your mat. And we'll take it into a little bit of cat-cow here. Syncing up the breath and the movement and the mind. And if there's any other movements when you're in your table pose that call to you, if you want to take it into wagging the tail to get a little more side stretch here, you can do that. Maybe you want to take some hip circles, if that feels good. Trying circling in both directions. And we'll take it into a little deeper back bend here. So come to center and spreading the palms wide, draw the heart forward, lift the feet, bring the tippy toes together and slowly, it's important to do this slowly so you don't cramp up, bring the heels as close to the buttocks as you can. Take a little bend in the elbows and pull the shoulders back. So the heart is leading and that bright shining sun in the center of your chest is shining forward. And your pelvis is just hovering over the mat. You're on your thighs. You're off of your knees and on your thighs. And you're going to arch back a little bit more. Look up. Big breath. Seal pose. Exhale. Press away into a cat stretch. Maybe even coming up onto fingertips to get a little lift. Pull the navel in. And exhale into your child's pose. Letting the forehead soften down toward the mat. Letting the sitting bones melt back toward the heels. Extended child, reaching your fingertips long in front of you toward the front of your mat. And let's take 2 more rounds of that seal to child. So inhale, come up through table and draw the heart forward at the top of your inhale. You're in your seal stretch, drawing heels toward the buttocks, spreading wide through the heart. Bend your elbows a little more to get a little more ability to arch the back into that extension. Exhale, flexion, press away through cat, back into child. Let it all go. One more at your own pace. Landing in your child's pose. Take another long, slow, deep breath. Exhale, let it go with a sigh. Just releasing any residual tension from that sequence. And then rising back up into table on the in-breath. Curl the toes under. Press the low belly toward the thighs. And press back to your downward facing dog.
And take a few moments to open up into your downward dog, perhaps a slow movement of one heel and then the other down into the earth, taking your dog for a slow, mindful walk, pressing away into fingers and thumbs, tilting low belly toward the thighs, and lifting the sacrum. Find that Uddiyana Bandha lift as well, a little navel in and up. Lots of breath. We'll take it into a connecting vinyasa. Inhale, top of a push-up, high plank. Body in one long line. Exhale, knees, chest, heart comes between the thumbs and chin down. Butt up in the air, toes curled under. Inhale into your cobra. You can take it into a baby cobra or a full cobra, whatever feels available. Exhale, release, and press up through table or plank. Back to downward facing dog. Find a little more length from your sacrum all the way down the back body through the arms to the fingertips. A little more lift in the tailbone and from the sitting bones down the backs of the legs, heels into the earth. Take another time through that sequence, your connecting vinyasa. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower down, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. From here, the right leg lifts back behind you into three-legged dog. Heart stays low. Exhale, step it through low lunge. That way you get, if you slide the left knee back, you get that nice hip flexor stretch. If you need blocks under your hands, you can take those. Lengthen out from tail to crown, sweep the hands forward and up, and take your expression of kneeling warrior. So that could be fingers interlaced, hands spread wide, or maybe even goddess arms if you want to invite that Shakti energy in. Exhale, hands behind you, interlace the fingers and squeeze the shoulder blades toward the center of the back to spread the heart. In kneeling yoga mudra or warrior yoga mudra. Inhale, lift up. Exhale. Hands come down to frame that front foot. Let's take it into a twist. So we're going to press the left palm down and press the right palm into the thigh and just press and twist. So you're stacking right shoulder on top of left. You can either stay here or curl your back toes under, lift up into high lunge. And then if you'd like, you can lift the right hand to the sky, grow long and wide, revolve side angle. Exhale, release. Frame that front foot and step back to plank and take it through your vinyasa. Some of you may be ready for chaturanga, low push-up, into upward facing dog or cobra, and press down and away into downward facing dog. Take a moment to pay attention to what's happening in the belly. So rather than the belly just letting it all hang out, engage the core, not enough to restrict your breathing, but enough so that you've got that abdominal lift, little bit of engagement of the navel in and up. Inhale, left leg sweeps up back behind you, long unbroken line from fingertips to toes. Exhale, step it through, lower the right knee down, and let the pelvis root down into the earth as the spine lengthens. You're up on your fingertips or your blocks, and your shoulders are soft. Sometimes we don't realize how much we scrunch, so take a moment to notice if you have some room to create more space between the shoulders and the ears. Inner thighs engage toward the center. Sweep up, take your expression of your kneeling warrior, or also known as Anjaneyasana, the low lunge. Maybe wide open arms, maybe goddess arms, maybe contemplative warrior with hands in prayer, celebrative warrior, maybe making that victory sign. And hands back behind you. Yoga Mudra. I call this the courageous warrior because of the courage it takes to open our hearts and to let our hearts stay open even in the most difficult of circumstances. And release. Hands frame that front foot. And place the right palm down under the shoulder, left palm onto your thigh. And press to take that twist. Turning your heart toward the left. And whatever variation you took on the other side, maybe bringing it into a full revolved side angle. Releasing, framing the front foot. Step up with the back foot. To meet the front foot, take a half forward bend, a half lift. Flat back growing long from tail to crown, back of the neck long. So tuck the chin a little. Uddiyana Bandha supports this. And exhale into your forward fold. Take as much bend in your knees as you need. Let it all go. And then from here, we'll just take a rolling up. So soften the knees, and we're going to roll. If you need to walk your hands up your legs, that's fine. Stacking one vertebra on top of another. Bone on bone. Shoulders rolled back and down, wide open heart, and turn the palms open as you return to the mountain pose. And just pause and notice the aliveness you've cultivated. Okay. So while you're standing, now we're going to take our practice into the Moon Salutation, which is a lovely way to honor that super full moon, flower moon. So if you have blocks, you may want to take one block and place it on one end of the mat, and the other block and place it on the other end of the mat. Okay, because that might come in handy. So the Moon Salutation, a few things to know about this sequence is that many of you are familiar with the Sun Salutation. And the Sun Salutation is a vinyasa sequence, a flow with breath of movements that take a lot of back bends and lunges. And it's considered, the sun is considered more masculine, and the moon is considered more of a feminine energy in many spiritual traditions. So the Sun Salutation is a masculine flow, and the Moon Salutation is considered to be the feminine version of a connecting vinyasa flow because it opens the hips. It stretches more the side body and beautiful hip opening poses. And it also really strengthens the legs as well. So we're going to play with that at the same time, honoring all the different phases that the moon goes through, from waxing to full to waning, and all the different things that that can symbolize. So when we come into Moon Salutation, your legs are going to be as wide apart, your feet are going to be as wide apart as the length of one of your legs. So if you don't, try not to be too short unless you have balance issues. You want to be nice and long and wide. The other thing is that most of the poses are going to be the same foot position. Hopefully you can see here that same foot position that we use for Warrior Two and for Triangle. Your heel is lined up with the instep, with the center of the arch of the back foot, and the back toes, when I say back, that means whichever way, opposite of whichever way you're facing. So, heel lined up with instep, and these toes are turned in slightly. So that's the same position you're going to use for Warrior, for dancing, for Triangle, side angle, all of those poses that we're going to link together. So I'll mirror you, come to the right side of your mat, so it's your right, and come into mountain pose and bring the hands to the center of the heart, palms joined. Root your tailbone down into the earth, and the crown of the head lifts skyward.
Take a moment to connect with the breath. And this first sequence honors the phases of the moon, waxing, full, and waning. Inhale, hands reach up skyward. And honoring the moon, taking a standing half moon, waxing, full, and waning. Exhale. Inhale full and step out to your 5-pointed star. Nice and wide from middle finger to middle finger. Exhale into goddess pose and let the outside edge of the knees draw toward back behind you. See if you can bring your thighs to parallel here. Inhale, opening up to 5-pointed star. And from here, we're going to bend the right knee, spring off, and come back into your full moon here. And we'll honor again the 3 phases of the moon. Exhale, side bend. Inhale, full. Exhale, waning. Inhale up to center, palms back to the heart. That's the basic framework of the Moon Salutation. Now we'll put it together with the warrior pose. Inhale, lift up. Waxing, exhale. Inhale, full. Exhale, waning. Inhale up to center and step out into your 5-pointed star. Touching into that spirit of radiance. Exhale, goddess. Inhale, opening up back to 5-pointed star, and pivot the feet now for warrior 2. Exhale, warrior 2, front knee over ankle, drawing toward pinky toe, nice and wide through that center of the chest. Turn the front palm up and take it into dancing warrior. First, reach up, straight up, and then arch back, reaching your fingertips to the back of the mat behind you. Exhale, back through your warrior 2. Shoulders over hips. Inhale, opening up 5-pointed star. Exhale, goddess. The elbows remain shoulder height, heart nice and wide. Inhale, opening up 5-pointed star. Exhale, pivoting the feet, check your alignment. Warrior 2 on this side. Soften the shoulders down. So notice if there's any scrunching going on here. Turn the front palm up, take it into dancing, lifting straight up first, and then reach back behind you, straight arms. Keep those warrior legs. Big inhale, exhale back into warrior 2. Inhale, open up 5-pointed star. Exhale, goddess. Inhale, star. And we're going to take that left knee, bend it, your left knee, bend it, and spring off, coming back into your full moon, hands back to the heart. Take a deep breath in and release. We're going to add the triangle pose now to the sequence. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, take those 3 phases. And we can also think of this trinity as, in many goddess-oriented traditions, it's the 3 phases of a woman's life as mother, maiden, as maiden, mother, and crone. Stepping out into 5-pointed star. Exhale, goddess. Inhale, 5-pointed star. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, dancing warrior. We can call this, if you look up at your palm, think of it as gazing at the moon. Sometimes this is called the sky gazing warrior. We'll call it moon gazing warrior today. Exhale, back to warrior 2. Straighten that front leg, draw energy up, starting with the bottoms of the feet, lift the arches. Let that energy draw up, lifting the kneecaps, engaging the quadriceps, let the energy lift right up through your core. And tuck the right hip, lift the left hip and roll it open, coming into your Konasana triangle pose. Support it, hold it up firm with your core. You can either have hand on the shin or back of the hand to the calf. One long line through the heart center here. One long line from your tailbone through the crown of the head. So you don't want to have any rounding of the spine here. So a lot of core support is needed. If you want to take this into a bind, you can play with that. Imagining that your body is between two panes of glass, looking up only if it's comfortable for your neck. You can also take it into the upper arm on your left side, reaching alongside the ear, reaching toward the right side of your mat. And then reaching up, grab the golden cord, let it draw you back up and back into your warrior two. Exhale. Inhale, opening up, five-pointed star. Exhale, goddess. Inhale, five-pointed star. Pivot the feet. Exhale, warrior two. Remember to notice if this bent knee is slumping in toward the left and draw it toward the right. Nice long center of gravity straight up and down through the spine. Take your moon gazing warrior, lifting up, reaching back, look up at your palm like you're gazing at the beautiful super flower moon. Big breath. Exhale back into your warrior two. And then straighten the front leg, draw energy up the legs, up through the core. Reach out and take your Konasana triangle pose. In triangle pose, it's not that important to go all the way down to the floor, because often that makes people fold forward. So it's fine to stay lifted up a little bit higher. Just feel that long arrow-like spine from root to crown, and take whatever variations you explored on the other side here. Either bind and or reaching long to get that wonderful lengthening through the right side of your body. Keep rolling that right hip open and drawing the left hip forward. And lifting up, back to warrior two. Exhale, land. Inhale, opening up, five-pointed star. Exhale, goddess. Inhale, opening up, star. We're going to spring off the right leg to come to the left side of your mat. And we'll take that that trinity of exhaling into the maiden, inhaling to the mother, exhaling to the crone or wise woman in her elder years. Inhale, lifting up, exhale, hands back to the heart. Taking a deep breath in and releasing. We're going to add now the extended side angle for a little bit more side body stretch and hip opener. Inhale, lift up. Exhale. Another trinity is, in the Christian tradition, you have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. That could be considered a more masculine version of the divine trinity. Inhale, lifting up. And opening out into five-pointed star. Exhale, goddess. Remember, your feet need to be nice and wide. Try to bring your thighs parallel. Feel the power of that Shakti energy, goddess energy, that creative power moving through you. Inhale, the radiance of the five-pointed star. Exhale, warrior two. We'll take it into the dancing moon-gazing warrior. Inhale. Exhale right through warrior two, and the next inhale coming into extended side angle, Parsha Konasana. So notice how in my body there is an unbroken diagonal from the outer edge of my left foot, well, it would be your left foot, to your fingertips. But notice if there's scrunching in the shoulder, and see if you can create a little space by drawing the shoulder down. Core holds this up. Take a bind if that feels good. Some of you may want to take a full bind coming underneath if that's part of your practice. Grabbing the wrist behind you. And then sweeping back up into your warrior two. Opening up into your five-pointed star. Exhaling, goddess. Inhaling, five star. Exhaling into your warrior two here. Take your moon gazing with a big deep inhale. Exhale back, warrior two. And inhale into your extended side angle. Now remember the forearm that's pressing into your into your left thigh here is going to press firmly so there isn't a collapsing down. So there's lots of space between your rib cage and the thigh. Rooting down through the outer edge of your right foot. Grow long. And take it into whatever play, whatever kind of bind you want to take it into. Even just back of the hand to opposite hip. It invites the shoulder to roll open. Look up at the sky if you can. And then reaching long, sweep back up through Warrior Two. Inhale, opening up, 5-pointed star. Exhale, Goddess. Inhale, opening up through the heart center. Spring off that left leg back to the other side. And here's another trinity that we can take, which is the Hindu trinity of the creator, the sustainer, and the destroyer. Brahma, the creator. Inhale, Vishnu, the sustainer. And exhale, Shiva, that which transforms through destruction and dissolution. All of that is honored. Inhale, exhale, hands back to the center. Take a deep breath in and release. We'll take it into a little balance play here. So we'll take that trinity again. This time, another wonderful trinity in the Buddhist tradition is the trinity of the Buddha, the teacher. Inhale, the Dharma, the teachings, the way. Exhale, the Sangha, the community. Inhale up to center and step out into your 5-pointed star. Exhale, Goddess. Inhale, star. Exhale, Warrior Two. And from here, I'm going to invite you to cartwheel down. Cartwheel the arms down, and you can bring your hands to the edges of your block and spring off into a Warrior Three as preparation to open the hips into your balancing half moon. If doing this freestyle, freestanding is not available to you, you can either stay with your hands on the block and just stay in your Warrior Three, or you can come against a wall to do this. But take a moment to play with that horizontal axis from heel to crown, so don't let the head flop down, and the vertical axis between the hands right through the heart center. And if it's available, to take this into a bow kick, grabbing your foot. For some of you, that's a fun way to play with this. Balancing half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. You want to stack one hip on top of the other. So roll that top hip open and press out through your heel here. Or you can press out through toes. When you're ready to release, you can float that leg down so you can, that extended leg down so you can sweep right back up into Warrior Two, opening up into 5-pointed star. Exhale, Goddess. We'll take it on the other side. Inhale, opening up, pivot the feet. Exhale, Warrior Two. From your Warrior Two, you can cartwheel down, wheel down right into your, either into your Warrior Three. That's a nice way to kind of position yourself to get ready for your half moon. I'm going to roll that top hip open. Your core is going to support this nice and strong. If you can see yourself on your screen, I don't know if you can use that to self-correct. If this leg is kind of hanging down, you want to find that long line from heel to crown, long line from hand to hand, and then take it into whatever balance exploration calls to you. If there's a variation, I love this nice bow kick, stretches the front body and gives you a deep back bend. Reconnect with your Ujjayi breath. And when you're ready to release, come back down through your Warrior Two. See if you can come into a graceful landing in that. And then opening up into your 5-pointed star. Oh yeah. And come into your Goddess. And from your Goddess, bring your hands together into the Lotus Bud Mudra. And so that is Hands in prayer position, except there's a little bit of space in between the palms. The fingers touch, the thumbs touch. And that is that possibility of awakening, possibility of your own spiritual unfoldment. Because this is flower moon, we'll take it into fingers spread wide, into the full lotus mudra. Bring your elbows together. And just keep the thumbs and pinkies touching here. In case you can't see well, I'll come close so that you can see it. You start like this, and then we open the middle fingers, the 3 middle fingers, thumbs and pinkies stays touching. The elbows touch, and you're going to let that stem of the lotus rise up like the lotus rising out of the mud underneath the pond. That's how lotus flowers grow. Bring it to the crown of the head, symbolizing the crown chakra, the Sahasrara, the 1,000-petal lotus hovering over the crown of the head. And open your arms wide, symbolizing that unfoldment of your own lotus flower of your own heart, your own spiritual awakening. Bring the hands back to the heart. And open up into your 5-pointed star. That should feel good on the legs to release that pose. Turn the toes to face straight ahead. Outer edges of the feet are parallel to the outer edges of your mat. Flat back, half forward bend, fold from the hip crease, long from tail to crown. Airplane arms. Grow a little longer through the spine. Keep the back of the neck long, so you might need to tuck the chin slightly. And as you're ready, fold forward into your Prasarita Padangusthasana, wide leg forward bend. And take a moment to explore here whatever feels good, maybe walking the hands forward in a wide leg down dog, keeping the sit bones reaching back, so you've got a dynamic tension, reaching the hands in one direction, the hips in another direction, keeping that core lift. Or maybe you want to interlace your fingers behind you and reach the hands to the sky, coming into a wide leg forward bend yoga mudra. And then releasing the hands, press back up halfway and pivot on the heels so your toes turn out 45 degrees. Bend the knees, and we're going to roll up right into your goddess pose. And from here, we'll take a lovely twist, bringing your hands onto your thighs. It can be inner thighs or just right on top of the thighs. And you're going to drop one shoulder. Let's start with your left shoulder. Drop your left shoulder down as you press into your left thigh. And roll your right shoulder back, look over your shoulder up to the sky. You're staying in your goddess legs. So you should feel the spine lengthen as you do this, taking that twist. And other side, come back to center, drop the right shoulder. The right arm straightens, the left arm is bent, and that shoulder rolls open. Look up at the sky, taking that twist on this side. And release. And open up into your 5-pointed star. Bending the left knee, spring off back into your preparation for your half moon. And the last trinity that we'll take is the trinity of mind, body, and soul, or mind, body, and spirit. Coming back up to center, bring the hands back into prayer, back to the heart, and just let your eyes close for a moment to notice and feel what you've invited in as a result of this beautiful sequence of Chandra Namaskar Vinyasa, the salutation to the moon. right back. Gotta find my phone. Okay. And as you're ready, come down onto your mat and just hug your thighs in toward your belly and rock side to side. We'll do some practices down on the mat now. Just give yourself this lovely embrace, rocking side to side. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to explore the inversion of your choice. So some of you may want to just place your legs straight up in the air, the legs perpendicular to the floor, or placing a block underneath your sacrum to get a little bit more lift in the hips, taking this gentle inversion. Some of you may want to come into full shoulder stand and plow sequence. Maybe taking a partial, modified shoulder stand with a bend in the hips so that the weight is supported on your elbows and forearms and shoulders rather than the neck. Plow pose can be done with straight legs or bent knees. Only if your feet, when you're coming into plow pose, and my plow pose is not ideal here because I've got this microphone thing right behind my neck, but if you are in plow pose, only if your toes are curled under and you're firmly anchored into the floor is it okay to release your hands from your low back and come into Yoga Mudra. And if you can want to tuck your shoulders a little bit toward one another. And when you're in your shoulder stand, you always do want to be supporting yourself here on the low back, or if you're getting a little more lift, walking your hands up the back, which from this position is down. And some of you might want to take this right into your bridge pose, floating the feet down. Some of you have been practicing with me for a while, know how to make that transition. Otherwise, you can roll down first and then press up into your bridge as a deep back bend. Pressing the hip pointers to the sky and spreading through the heart. So take that sequence in whatever order you prefer. Shoulder stand plow to bridge. Taking your own time of exploration of inversions. Bridge is an inversion as well. Anytime we have the hips higher than the heart, it's an inversion. And it's also okay to just take a supported bridge with a block underneath your sacrum and just let yourself enjoy that restorative moment. We've done a pretty vigorous practice this morning, so maybe that restorative moment where you're just being supported and letting your body release into the support of the block is just what is called for right now. And if you're going to do that, I don't know how many of you are actually looking at your screen, but if you need to look, the trick is to be able to get enough height with that block underneath your sacrum. So in order to do that, you want to roll up into a bridge as high as you can, and then lift the heels, press into the balls of the feet to get a little more lift so you can slip that block underneath. And you want it underneath the sacrum area, not under the more tender lumbar curve. So it's down so that the block is just above the butt crack. And then if you're in a supported bridge, your hands can just be open, palms turned up, but you can see if you can tuck your shoulders toward one another so you get a little bit more rolling open of the heart,
expanding open of the heart. All the while checking into the quality of your breathing in and out through the nose with a gentle ujjayi sound, ocean sound. And when you're ready to release, you can lift the hips. If you have the block underneath you, you want to, again, lift your heels so you can get that hip lifted up and just slip the block out. But remember to roll down from the upper back down one vertebra at a time. Do it with control. And then hug the thighs in toward the ribs again in another embrace. So I'm going to invite everybody to come into that embrace. This pose is called Apanasana. I'll just give you a little bit of interesting trivia about this pose, is that Apanasana refers to Apana, which is the energy of that which flows down and out of us. It refers to the out-breath. It also refers to elimination of any sort. So evacuation. So this pose is considered very good if you need to move things along in that direction. As is the next pose we're going to do, which is called wind relieving pose. Same thing, same idea. So interlace your fingers around your right shin and extend your left leg. Let the body grow long, tuck the chin a little bit so the back of the neck lengthens. And on the inhale, you can draw we'll take it from the wind relieving into an abdominal strengthener. So lift the left leg, let it hover over the mat. And on the next exhale, chin to chest, roll the head and shoulders off so you can feel your core lighting up here, holding up this pose. If it's available, you can release your hands and turn your palms up, reaching forward with your fingertips, reaching your shoulders away from the head. 5 deep breaths here. In and out through the nose. And rather than going flop, you're going to mindfully roll down and let the left leg settle on the mat. And hand to toe pose here. So if you need to grab a strap, I didn't mention that we might need a strap at the beginning of class. So if you don't have a strap available, you can just grab behind your calf and you still get the same benefit out of this stretch. Otherwise, peace fingers to big toe, press up through the heel, and try to keep both shoulders connecting with the mat. If you find that your right shoulder is being pulled way off the mat, which creates tension in the neck, then it might be easier. You might notice a little bit more ease in the pose if you hold around your ankle or calf. And then opening that leg out to the side. Just keep the sacrum flat, keep both buttocks on the mat so you get a nice hip opener here, inner thigh stretch. The foot is staying at the level of the hip, so that right leg is staying perpendicular to the rest of the body. Both hip pointers facing the sky. You can reach your left hand out so you've got a nice long, wide expanse through the heart center. And then lifting that right leg straight up again, bend the knee, release the hand from the foot, and come right into a figure 4. So you're going to bend your left knee and connect just above your right ankle to the middle of your left thigh. Thread your hands through, either grab behind your left thigh or around your left shin. So your right hand is going to come through the space that's made between your thighs there. And pull in. That's a nice supine pigeon stretch. You're probably going to feel it in your glutes. And let the shoulders soften back to the mat. If you find that it's pulling your shoulders off of the mat, it might be easier to hold behind your thigh or even use a strap. Other thing you can do is take a blanket behind your shoulders, behind your head, and that might make it a little bit more relaxing. We don't want to add tension. You're going to press that right knee away from you toward the front of your mat. You can use leverage with your right elbow inside your thigh. Drawing left thigh in. I'm going to take it right into a twist here. So release your hands. And then just bring your thighs together. So now your right thigh is on top. You're just going to scrunch in so that your right thigh ends up on top of your left. And if you can, wrap the feet into eagle legs. And from here, hands come out to T position. You're going to draw the knees down toward the left and turn your head toward the right. So you're coming into twisted root. Knees stay in the line of the hip. This twist might be a little bit too strong for some people, so you can just unwind your legs and bring them into L shape and draw them down to one side. Melting backs of both shoulders into the mat. Long, deep, slow breathing. And coming back up to center. We'll come into wind relieving pose on the other side. So clasping your hands around left shin, extend right leg in front of you. Draw the left thigh in toward the rib cage on the left side. And let the body grow long. So this wind relieving pose, you're all on mute, so if any wind gets relieved, nobody will know. And then lifting right leg, just let it hover so you engage the lower abdominal muscles, and then as you bring the chin to the chest, roll head and shoulders off the mat. Upper abdominals are engaged. If you want to release the hands, turn the palms up. 5 deep breaths. See if you can keep the entire upper back off of the mat. Keep drawing those fingertips toward the front of the mat. Keep the facial muscles soft. Soft around the eyes, soft around the jaw. After your 5th breath, you'll melt back down into your wind relieving to give you access to grab either your big toe or your calf or your ankle to come into supine hand to toe pose, Padangusthasana. Press up through the heel. The exhale is where you give it the little push. The inhale, you create a little micro bend in the knee, softening, backing off, and exhale, give it the juice. And then opening nice and wide, keeping the sacrum connected, both buttocks connected, opening out nice and wide. If it's hard to reach your foot, here you might need to grab your lower leg. That's fine. And it's okay if the foot doesn't come all the way down to the floor. You just want to keep the hips stable. Open out through the heart center, big breath. Press out through the heel to the left side of your mat, left side of the room. And then when you're ready, draw that leg back up to center. And we're going to come right into figure 4, bringing the right thigh in toward your torso and find your access fingers clasp either around your right shin or behind the right thigh. Press away with your left elbow to your inner thigh to get that hip rotation open. And breathe and enjoy. Softening the backs of the shoulders into the mat. Notice if the neck muscles are feeling tense here. Some of that neck and shoulder tension is really insidious. So just bringing awareness to it is really all we need to invite it to soften. See if you can draw that right thigh in a little closer. Press the left knee, outside of the left knee, away a little bit more. Feel that aliveness. And then releasing your hands, come into your eagle legs or L-shaped legs to take the twist that you took on the other side, drawing the knees down toward the right. And the left shoulder sinks down toward the mat. Turn your gaze toward the left. Breathe and enjoy. And when you're ready, unwinding your legs, coming back up to center. And just bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees splay out like a diamond. Coming into your supine bound angle. You can either take it into reclining goddess pose with your arms in goddess arms, or your hands to your low belly, one hand to low belly, one hand to heart. Whatever hand position helps you touch into the wave of breath that moves in and out through the nose, beginning in the belly. Belly rises. Ribs expand. Chest lifts. And emptying in the opposite direction. Emptying the chest. Emptying through the ribs. And then through the belly. Drawing the navel in at the end of your exhale. It's always fine to put a couple of blocks underneath your thighs if this wide hip opener is feeling, places tension in the hips. For some people it feels good. For some people a little support helps create ease in the pose. We're touching into those 3-part yogic breaths. Dirga pranayam, long breaths. You can try adding a little breath retention, a little moment, maybe between 2 and 5 seconds. Pause at the top of the inhale to pause in fullness. And at the bottom of the exhale, to find that pause in emptiness. mirroring that movement, the cycle of the moon, as it moves from full, as it is now, to waning as the breath empties, to new moon as you hold in that moment of emptiness, and back to waxing as you fill up again with breath. So let your breath be a celebration of the magnificence of the phases of the moon, from full to waning to the dark of the new moon, to the waxing, filling up again, back into fullness. This practice is one of the most basic pranayama, breath control practices in Hatha Yoga, but perhaps the most powerful. And it's available to everyone. There's no contraindications to this practice. It has an incredibly healing and calming and balancing effect on the nervous system. And when you are ready, please find your way into Shavasana. You can bring your hands to the outside of your thighs and draw your knees in towards center. And if there's any final movements or wiggling and waggling or anything that calls to you before coming into Shavasana, you can take a moment to do that. Some of you might want to take your happy baby pose, or maybe a nice long stretch, or maybe there's another twist calling to you. So take this as a moment of tuning into what your body needs to feel complete with your practice. I recommend something gentle as we're in the yin phase of our practice right now. And if you need to cover up with a blanket to be comfortable in your Shavasana, please do that. And let yourself settle into a few moments of corpse pose for deep relaxation. Let the palms turn up in that gesture of being willing to receive that healing energy from this practice. Let the toes turn out 45 degrees. Just let them just naturally flop outward. Your feet are a little wider than your hips. Let your eyes close. And let go of any pranayama practice here. Let go of the ujjayi breath. Let go of trying to control the length of the breathing, and then let your breath find its natural rhythm.
So there's absolutely no doing here, no striving, no efforting at all. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace, the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the gentle night to you. Moon and stars pour their healing light on you. Deep peace to you. Deep peace to you. Deep peace to you. Deep peace to you. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the gentle night to you. Moon and stars pour their healing light on you. Deep peace to you. Deep peace to you. Deep peace to you. Deep peace to you. And slowly begin to bring some movement into your fingers and into your toes as you let your breath deepen. And find any movements that bring you back into present time awareness and back into your body. Maybe a long stretch, maybe another hug in Apanasana. And when you're ready, you can roll on over to one side in your field position. And press yourself up to a seated position. We'll do a few minutes of a closing meditation. So if you have a folded blanket or a meditation cushion or any pillow, anything that can just support a long spine, allowing the hips to be higher than your knees. You want your shoulders to be stacked over your hips. It's also fine to do meditation in a chair. An important thing is that the spine is long and lifted and there's no rounding of the upper back or rounding of the lower back. So if you sit forward on your cushion or on your chair so that you can let the hip pointers tilt forward a little bit so that you roll onto the front edge of your sitting bones so that you'll notice that lengthens the low back and creates that beautiful lift out of the pelvic bowl. And letting the eyes close. Just bring your awareness to the rhythm of your breathing without any controlling of it. Just noticing the natural rising and falling of the breathing. And notice where you feel the presence of the breath most prominently. It might be in the belly. It might be in the chest. It might be at the nostrils. So just pick one spot where you can allow your attention to gently rest on that inhale and exhale. Inspiration and expiration. And let the eyes close. Or, some of you who might practice Zen meditation might want to have your eyes open, the eyelids partly open, gaze turned down. So whatever posture and position is comfortable for you, you can take. And meditation is not about pushing away anything, any thought, because thoughts are going to come. It's about gently noticing what arises and taking a very gentle favoring of the object of your attention, which in this case is the breath. So it's a letting go of the thoughts rather than a pushing away of the thoughts. There's a big difference between the two. Rumi said, the great Sufi poet Rumi said, "Put your thoughts to sleep. Do not let them cast a shadow over the moon of your heart. Let go of thinking." Put your thoughts to sleep. Do not let them cast a shadow over the moon of your heart. Let go of thinking. Rumi also said, your thoughts are a veil on the face of the moon. That moon is your heart, and those thoughts cover your heart. So let them go. Just let them fall into the water. That moon is your heart, and those thoughts cover your heart. So let them go. Just let them fall into the water. When water is still, like a mirror, it can behold the moon. When water is still like a mirror, it can behold the moon. So we allow the mind to become like a clear, still pond that can reflect what is without modification. And it's as simple as returning again and again to the movement of the breath.